Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. It's Teresa here with day 3 in my 2023 December Daily album. And today I'm creating and sharing this layout for the Traci Reed Designs creative team. There will be a blog post on the Traci Reed Designs blog where you can see more details and tips about how I'm creating this super cool circle layout that incorporates 5 photos. And I'm showing you here how it works. And so it's 5 photos that kind of make a sandwich together. And then there are 4 tabs. So each of the tabs lifts up to show a horizontal photo or 2 vertical photos or a horizontal photo on the top. And so I'm working on the back of this vellum from the Festive collection that I created for the Festive launch. And today is the day I'm going to create the completed page for you. And so what we did that day was we went for brunch, and I had a couple of really fun photos, definitely more than one photo that I wanted to incorporate. And so I had the idea to have the photos in a circle, and each tab would flip up and show a different photo with a pattern paper and some embellishments and places for journaling too, of course. And so what I've done is printed out 5 photos in a round shape. They measure 6 1/4. And the top one is the full circle, that's the cover photo. And then each tab underneath it has 2 horizontal photos with pattern papers above or below, and 2 vertical photos with pattern papers to the right and the left. And then I also cut 4 white cardstock circles that are 6 inches wide. These are the mechanism of the layout. And then there's also a last 6.5 inch white cardstock circle that serves as the base, and it also serves as the finished underside, so that when you look at it from the front, all you see is a nice clean white circle behind the wreath. And so what I'm going to do first is start with the top layer. And the top layer again is the cover photo with full 6 1/4 inch circle photo, and I've cut it into 4 equal pieces. And now I am adhering them to one of the white cardstock pieces. And so the photos are cut into 4 pieces. The cardstock circles serve as the mechanism, and so they get folded in quarters. And I just used a bone folder. I did that off camera before I started, so I would have everything set up as well as possible. And then I also have a couple of tabs. The 4 tabs that I printed, they are actually from Candy Coated Christmas, and so they're going to be the thing that tells the reader, lift here. And my idea was, when you lift, say tab 1, and this is tab 1 that I'm working on right here, when you lift that, it only lifts the photo and the pattern papers that you see for that tab. So here I went ahead and got all of the cover photo adhered to the top, and then I'm working from the top down to the bottom like a sandwich. And so it's a photo, cardstock, and then photo. I adhered the tab 1, this is tab 1 here, that's the photo of the building, and it is printed in a horizontal orientation with the photo at the top and the pattern paper at the bottom. Now I'm adhering the photo at the top where I had in the way that I had printed it. But then I'm not going to adhere the patterned papers just yet because I don't know exactly where they're going to go. And that's something that you'll see as the process goes along, how that works out. Because where those, where that red and white striped pattern paper is going to be adhered, it doesn't exist yet. We haven't put it together. So what I am going to do is write tab 1 on the back of those pattern papers. It's pretty easy to keep track of what you're putting together with what, but I wanted to just make sure that I didn't lose track of anything, and also that what I had printed indeed would go with what it was intended to go with, because it would be pretty easy to turn those pieces sideways if I did lose track. So as I'm going along, I'm making sure that the folds are working out pretty well. And so tab 1 is basically completed, and I'm gonna work on tab 2. And so for tab 2, I chose this vertically oriented photo that has a photo of myself on the right hand side and then the poinsettia pattern paper on the left hand side. I'm going to go ahead and label those tab 2, and of course cut them into quarters, and that way I'm ready for that part. Now before I can adhere the photo, I need to adhere the mechanism for this tab, and that will be this white cardstock circle that's just like the other 3 that I cut and folded into quarters. And so I got to figure out here where it gets adhered. And so the biggest my biggest reminder or tip for doing this is that you're only going to adhere white cardstock to white cardstock. You're not going to adhere white cardstock to photo or photo to photo or anything like that. Just where your white cardstock pieces are. And it sort of works itself out so that it goes around in a circle, especially if you follow the order that you created your photos in. So a horizontal oriented, followed by a vertical, followed by another horizontal, followed by another vertical. And so I'm getting this tab, getting the mechanism pulled together here and adhered down, and then the photo is going to get glued right there onto what will be the right hand side when you lift that tab. And so I am gonna go ahead and grab my printed tab to designate this this photo. And what I'm doing with the tabs is adhering them to the white cardstock. And I did that because you can see how on the cover photo I did adhere the tab on top of the photo, and it feels like it competes a little bit with that photo, and I didn't really want that on all of them. So it felt better to me to go ahead and adhere that onto the cardstock. Now, I always recommend use repositionable adhesive, because you will see in a little bit I'll end up kind of moving the tabs around a little bit because I put that one in the wrong place. I didn't end up liking where I put it, and that's okay. There's like 2 choices for where that tab can go. And I think I just kind of wasn't really thinking about how I wanted that tab to work or where I wanted it to be on the layout as a whole. But that's okay. Just a heads up on that. Always use repositionable adhesive. And this is kind of, I'm experimenting with this as I go here. I don't know if you can tell that or not, but it does end up working out really cool. And what I want to encourage you is to play, to try different things and experiment. Sometimes they don't work out, and sometimes it does work out. And when it does work out, it's really exciting. So I'm going to move to tab 3 now. And since the last tab was vertical, this one will be the other horizontal photo. So what I'm doing here is just double checking some of the things and making sure that I get this adhered in the right place. And so what I need again is the white cardstock circle, and remembering to adhere the white to white. I only did one of the white quarters here, and then also went ahead and grabbed the next tab. And so I'm going to go ahead and attach that before I attach the photo. And I think this is kind of where I'm figuring out that they aren't quite going in the order that I want them to go in, or in the positions that I want them to go in, but I'm not sure yet what to do about it. Or if moving the tabs will still keep the, will it still make sure that the correct photo opens up with the correct tab? And that's, you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to show the video in regular time and not speed it up for you, so that you could see how that's, exactly how that's going together. And so now I'm confirming that I do in fact have tab 3 is correct. It's not quite, the fold is not quite on the center. So again, I'm going to raise that up. Thank you, repositionable adhesive. And then put that down. You do want to make sure when you fold your cardstock, you want to make sure that those folds are really crisp. And then you also want to leave space. If you notice, on each of the photos, each of the pattern papers, I've left space inside of all of those folds so that the thickness of the papers has somewhere to go. And that's the thickness for the photo paper, thickness for the cardstock, and that will help those folds to be a bit more responsive when you lift that tab. So went ahead and trimmed out, or trimmed these 2 photo and pattern paper in 2/4, and going to go ahead and adhere those onto the white cardstock circle where they belong, and the tab where they belong. And here in a moment we'll be able to start adding the pattern papers, because we've almost got the sandwich ready. It's just one more layer, and so each layer, remember, is a photo with the pattern paper and a white cardstock circle. So I'm really liking how this is coming together. But again, those tabs were bugging me. So here's where I'm going to go ahead and change those. And basically what I wanted was for, it doesn't matter really which order you go in now that it's done, but I wanted to keep it in order 1, 2, 3, 4, so I didn't get confused about what was going to get adhered where. And so the first tab is on the bottom right hand corner, and the second tab is on the lower left hand corner, and then number 3 is on the upper left, and number 4 is on the upper right. And so it's an organized way of presenting these 5 photos. And I hope that all of this is making sense, but I feel like with the video that you're getting a pretty good idea of how to what you need to put this all together and how it comes together in the end. Just ignore the little mishaps with the tabs. Again, thank you, Repositionable Adhesive, our greatest Christmas gift. So there, now you can see how the tabs are in the right place, I think. Are they? Or maybe they're not. And also the photos are working out, they're folding the way that they need to fold. So I'm going to go ahead and start here on the last tab and the last set of photo and pattern paper. This one is the second vertical pattern paper and photo. And so I'm going to go ahead and write tab 4 on the back of the pattern papers. Notice how I just have those pattern paper pieces set aside, and then I'll be able to add those here as soon as all of the sandwich is made, and then I'll be able to tell where the pattern papers go, because at this point I'm not really sure, but I know that once I start to pull the tabs up, that's where they'll start to go. So I've got it figured out where this vertical photo is supposed to go, but let me go ahead and adhere the white cardstock down. This is the last folded cardstock circle, and just trying to get it in a good place and get that center fold pretty well centered. And you'll notice how the cardstock circles are cut smaller than the photos. I think you could probably cut them the same size. I wanted to make sure that it didn't show beyond the photos, if that makes sense. I guess just to get a cleaner look. It's a lot of layers coming together here. So anything that you can do to streamline, I think that you could probably do this with typing paper for the cardstock circles. That would be worth a try, and because basically it's just the folding mechanism. It's just the hinge, if you will. All right, so last photo going down, and I swear, one more adjustment on the tabs. This is it, I promise. I'll leave them alone after this. But what I realized was that the 2 green ones were going to go next to each other. And that just won't do. So watch me go ahead and change those. Luckily, where the tabs were is pretty self-explanatory, so it didn't take a lot to move those. One thing I did discover is that there were still a couple of white pieces that needed to be adhered to other white pieces in order for the tabs to work, so that they would only lift up that particular photo and that particular pattern paper piece. So I will go back at the end and make sure that everything is adhered where it needs to be. But the first thing I got to do is figure out where these pattern paper pieces are going to go. So now that the sandwich is adhered, I'll be able to tell better where they belong. Let me put this last this last little tab on here. And then what I think is time to do is it's time to adhere the sandwich to the base circle that's already on the vellum. Just a little fuss there with the tab. There we go. All right. So everything's all set. Excellent. And what I'm going to do is when you turn the sandwich over, you can see that there's a vertical photo and a vertical space that has nothing on it. First, I need to adhere the base circle to the vellum, and I'm hiding the adhesive with the embellishments on the front. So that way they won't show, the adhesive won't show through. And again, when you look at the front of the vellum, you'll just see a nice plain white circle behind the vellum. I think it actually gives it a little more presence on the page, and it also makes the vellum a little bit more sturdy. And I think that's really important for holding up over the years, because we do want these albums and these pages to last a lifetime. So cool. Now I know where the pattern paper for tab 4 is going to go. It's going to go on this half of the base circle because the photo is attached to the sandwich on the other side. So when you flip up the tab 4, that's exactly what you're going to find. So let me go ahead and adhere these down. And this is a really good feeling here to recognize that oh, everything is going to work out the way I had planned, and the risk is paying off. So I'm kind of excited, and I hope you are too. So I chose the green on white star pattern paper here. And again, this is just a home base for some of the embellishments, journal spots, so I can write a little bit about our brunch date. We really did have a great time. It was a fun morning and a cute little place to go have brunch. It was called the River Birch Lodge here in Winston-Salem. And we've decided that we want to visit all of the brunch places in Winston-Salem. So you'll be hearing more about our brunch adventures very soon, I hope. I hope we get to go again very soon. It was a lot of fun. Very relaxed. And, you know, I'm always up for a fun date. So the other side of the back of the sandwich that has nothing on it gets adhered down to the base circle. And with this, the whole thing is constructed. It's actually all together. I don't have the pattern papers glued down, but now I know where they all go. So when you lift up tab 1, there's the photo of the building, and then we're going to grab the pattern papers that say tab 1 on the back, and we're going to adhere those right below the photo that we have. And so at this point, it makes it a little bit easier, I think, to add those pattern papers if you hold off. Because before this, it wasn't really clicking in my own mind. And, and that's okay. You figure it out as you go. And so I'm really liking how this has turned out. Again, remember that I'm leaving space inside the folds for the paper thickness. Here I'm turning to tab 2 and trying to figure out and make sure that when you turn tab 2, it does in fact bring you to the photo and the pattern paper for tab 2. So now I know where this pattern paper goes, and I can adhere it down as well. I am using sticky thumb adhesive for this, which is a pretty sticky adhesive, and I do recommend using the best. Use the stickiest that you've got. Red line tape would be an excellent choice too, but I felt like the sticky thumb is easier to adhere. All right, and then once I get tab number 2 adhered down, I will check the folds again and move on to tab 3. And so this part of the process really moves pretty easily, and then we'll be ready to add the embellishments. Of course, for embellishments for this layout, I have all of the stickers printed out from the Festive collection. I'm specifically going to focus on labels and word strips, and keep things pretty simple because there is a lot going on in this layout, and I don't want to clutter it up, right? So keeping it very simple, and also allowing this part of the process took quite a bit of time already, and so that can be the majority of the process for that day. And then tab 4 was already done when we started adding the pattern papers. So now I can go ahead and add embellishments. So let's see how this works out. First, I'm going to try to see if there's some things that work on the cover photo. And I had a really nice comment from Kim, who was talking about my layout for day 2 and how I left the photos unembellished for that layout, and how much she liked that. And I liked it too, because it allowed the photos to take center stage. And I think that that's a great thing to remember, that especially if you're like me and you love photos, which I do, for me, the layouts, of course, they're about the story too, but they're really about the photo for me. I think that the photos sometimes they tell more of the story than our words do, and that's okay. A photo is worth 1,000 words still. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't journal or whatever. I think we should journal, but I do think that leaving the photos very simple is a really cool way to allow them to take center stage. And so that is what I'm trying to do here. What I decided to do on the cover photo was to do a little word stamp on the tab. The stamps I'm using are from Citrus Twist from a few years ago. And then the puffy stickers I'm using are from Ellie Studio. I could not believe that I still had a pack of hearts and stars and dots in the form of puffy stickers that were not opened and had not been used yet. So it's time to change that, and they're gonna embellish the little tabs a little bit and just add a little bit of fun that isn't too deep, right? Chipboard elements I don't think would work well in this little stack of photos. So, but there's always room for puffy stickers. For the first photo, I cut down one of the tags from the Festive collection and made it fit better into that quarter circle. And then I added one of the word banners. I always love Traci's word banners. They're the best. I did another little word stamp here and a couple more puffy stickers just to keep it simple. I did not add thread or ribbon or anything to that tag. I just left it as it was. going back to tab 2 here. This one has the poinsettia pattern paper, and I'm using one of the star word arts and a couple of labels here, and just trimming them down, layering them, and then positioning them into the fold of the page here, so that there's just a bit of space here for the journaling and talking a little bit about what we were doing and where we were. So once I get that done, let's see, I'm gonna look for some embellishments here to add, and they all seemed a little bit too big, but there was the little coffee cup with the candy cane inside, so that seemed to fit with our coffee. We had a French press. That was the first time I had ever had a French press coffee, so that was fun to share that. I thought it was a little bit strong, but that's just me. I'm still learning my way with this coffee thing, but it was awesome. I did discover, there we go, another little gap here that needed to be adhered down. And again, white cardstock to white cardstock is what needs to be glued down so that your tabs will work properly. So for tab 3, I chose a wider label and a wider word strip, and then I cut them into 2 pieces so that they would fit across the pattern paper. Just keeping that very simple. I thought about doing another word strip underneath, but ditched that idea. And then I thought, well, you know, why don't I add a couple more embellishments here? So there was another coffee cup, and then these cute little candy canes. Seems to be the theme with the embellishments. But I do love the repetition of that. Obviously, the repetition of colors helps to tie all this together, and the repetition of themes that absolutely fit in with the event work out perfect. So I've got another tab I want to do another little word stamp on, and a couple more puffy stickers there, and then onto the last tab here. And so using a little banner that happened to be oriented to the right, and so it tucks into that seam perfectly. Another word strip that also fits into that perfectly, and then just trying to figure out what to do on the bottom part. So I added a little half circle, and then I'm gonna chop a few more labels here and add those for the journaling. Easy peasy, and a great little place to write down my thoughts and whatever it is that you want to remember from your event. I'm also going to add just simple inked lines here to both of the journaling spots, and then I think the layout will be done. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the album so you can see and show you how the mechanism works. Once again, just like I showed you at the beginning. And I hope that you will head over to the Traci Reed Designs blog today and check out the details of this layout, and also to purchase the Festive collection if you don't have it yet. It is definitely a must-have for your December documenting this year. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you back here again very soon. Bye-bye.